Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about how to avoid sexual harassment issues in and outside of the workplace. As of late, there's been numerous outings of individuals who have preyed upon others inside and outside the workplace. It's one of the fastest ways to destroy a cohesive environment as well as demoralize the individuals affected by someone's actions. You might be thinking, well, in this day and age, how is this possible? People that think they're fine, outstanding citizens, they're always doing the right things, putting that right face forward, but on the other side, when no one's looking, there's another side to them. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where you're thinking they're outstanding, and next thing you're like, whoa, they did what? And it causes a conflict. Wondering, how can this person do that? They're so nice, but they end up doing something that's a little bit different. And you might be thinking, how can this be happening in today's day and age, with so many advancements with people, equality, and so forth? But one of the reasons why this tends to take place, there's a sense of power that comes with a certain level of position, and also with it a sense of invulnerability. Because for the longest time, if you think about how businesses were structured, it was a matter of what can you do to protect these people? How can you make sure that the people who are vital to the success of an organization, you maintain them? And it didn't matter what type of damage they cause. Well, it's for the greater good. We've got to keep them safe, because if we don't do that, everything else falls to crap. And that became that philosophy. So it didn't matter if they hurt someone along the way. They would look at it as, well, this is the lesser of two evils. So people would turn a blind eye. It's like, well, they're bringing in, the vast majority of revenue. They're helping ratings or doing whatever. So they're willing to look the other way. However, in today's day and age, it's not a requirement. It's not needed. It's something that has to be eliminated, because saying that one person is more valuable than an entire group of people, that's just allowing a cancer to exist within an organization, that it festers and grows. And what has really begun happening is people have seen that it's okay to come forward when you have had these things happen. So you might be thinking about, how is this possible? This person here did that. These things have been going on for decades. But because for the longest time, people were ostracized, careers were destroyed, essentially what people had to do was just stay quiet, because if they didn't stay quiet, well, then their careers were toast. So it created an unfortunate environment where people were fueled because they thought, well, I'm invulnerable. Nothing's going to happen to me. The corporate bigwigs are going to take care of me. I'm going to keep on doing it because I'm doing the things that make them happy. Well, now in today's age with social media, a company cannot afford to do this anymore, because of the backlash. If any companies decide, well, we're going to keep this person here, it would be a disaster for them, because the public doesn't tolerate it. And you see, here's the interesting thing about it. For the longest time, people across the board would not tolerate it. But because it was not something that was publicly discussed, or it was something that was swept under the rug, people thought, well, I don't hear about it, I don't see about it, it had taken place, it must not be happening. But it's always been there. So ultimately, what we have to decide is, as a society, how can we make changes that allow us to move forward and ultimately stop this from happening in the first place? Now, granted, there's going to be a lot of trainings going on. This is how you avoid it. And, I look back at my first career, you had to sit through a lot of these types of trainings. And at the end of it, I thought, there was an hour that was not needed. Well, some people might be thinking, but how can you say that? But you have to sit there. It's like, here's a common sense approach. So that way you don't have to sit through any classes and you avoid all the issues in the first place. It's actually quite simple. You treat everyone like they're your family member. See, a person would never, ever treat their own brother and sister in the way that, they see people who have been outed lately in the media treating others. You just wouldn't do it. See, most gentlemen, if they're raised, growing up, are raised to protect their siblings, protect their family members. So you wouldn't ever do something, to harm them. You're not going to look at your sister and go, hey, how you doing? You wouldn't do that. That would just be wrong on a whole different kind of level. So if you treat everyone like family, that solves it right then and there. So it eliminates that aspect. And that's just one half of it. The other part of it is you have to create a culture where you just don't tolerate it. That in instance, like if someone is doing something that's detrimental to the performance of others, or they're sexually harassing them, they're gone, period. Because when you have a culture that does not put up with people who are ultimately destroying the company culture that's being built, you can't have that. So if people learn very quickly that behavior along those lines is not tolerated, and if you treat everyone like family, the problem is solved right then and there. Now, does it mean that it's a simple and easy fix to put in place? No, because it requires everybody to step forward on both sides. People who might have been thinking, well, maybe I say something wrong. Well, you have to think about it as, how can you treat people better and not look at them like they're an object, for starters. And on the flip side of it is, the people who have been harassed have to be willing to put their foot down and put a stop to it. Because as long as people believe that it's okay and they can keep doing it, people will always do it. It goes back to saying, you give some people an inch, they'll take a mile. So it requires effort on both sides to ensure that it is stopped cold in its tracks, so we can move past this and people can be able to prosper in the workplace. So ultimately, it comes down to something simple. The faster people begin treating others like family, the faster we can eliminate harassment from inside and outside the workplace, and everybody can get along a whole lot better. So do me a huge favor, share this episode out there, because there's someone who needs to hear this message today that helps them in their business get past all these things that we see in the workplace and treat each other the way that we all want to be treated. So go out there and have an amazing day.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.